Hello Capricorn friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Capricorn February 2022 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Click on the notes underneath this video. If you look at the little more button with the arrow and click it to reveal the notes, that's going to show you all the links to all the free goodies I make for you each month, including how you can sign up for my free email newsletter and be able to run free birth charts with software, and you can see my books, see more about readings, and how you can learn astrology with me. If you are a Capricorn Sun, or you're a Capricorn Moon like me, or a Capricorn Rising, or a Capricorn Venus like me, or you have any other Cap placements that you watch for, what we're going to talk about here is going to be part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Cap, so we'll say like January 15th through the rest of the sign, or we'll say about 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I also recommend that you watch my Aquarius report because you very cuspy people are going to have a more complex read and you will pick up pieces from each of those readings. February is one of the least astrologically active months that we've had for a while, and that can be a great relief. We are still in between the eclipse season. We do have the combination of part of the month being covered in retrograde and part of it being direct, which we'll go into lots of details about later. But we don't have as many like actual transits or connections with the planets, and we don't have any of the big yucky outer planet transits that have been rocking us for a long time. But what we do have is one of the most sweet aspects between Jupiter and Uranus, which we're going to go into lots of details about because it's rare and it's very exciting. So you can see my list of what we're going to cover here. There have been extended Capricorn placements because of Venus retrograde in Capricorn and Mars making its entrance into Capricorn for the first time in 2 years. So that combination, along with Mercury also having some time more in Capricorn, is going to really make a Capricorn party. So we're going to talk about what that means for us. And one big thing to know is that this month, the sweet versus salty profile, I'm always talking about the sweet aspects versus salty aspects, it's pretty even. But what's important to know is that a lot of the aspects that could be considered possibly challenging could actually go either way. There's more of a neutrality to the connections, which means that your perspective is going to reign supreme. If you like a write-up of all of the sweet and salty dates, what you can expect from them delivered into your inbox 1 month early, that's another perk you get when you sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. The link is in the notes below. Okay, so we'll also get a sneak peek into this January through 2022 calendar, and we'll talk about the shadows and the transits and the direct of the Venus retrograde, Mercury, and the eclipse season, and this Jupiter-Uranus influence. And so I'll give you a visual of what is best to do when, as we cover that retrograde versus direct and talk about what dates open up that magical first, and I think the best, open launch period in the whole year, because we're going to have Mars retrograde at the end of this year. And that covers a long period of time. It's like really a 6-month process. So starting like around the fall or for spring for you all down under, we're going to have the Mars retrograde influence, and that means that we only have 2 periods of time that are open for launches. So we're going to talk about those and talk about why I think this one's best. So let's talk about the Capricorn party. We all know the energy of Capricorn very well, right? Because we have it. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the taskmaster. That's part of what makes Capricorn people super productive. I can assure you that it's not my lots of Sagittarius placements that I have in my chart that makes me disciplined enough to show up here every month for you all with births, with deaths, with no matter what's going on in my life for almost a decade. It's the Capricorn placements, right? Because I am ruled by Saturn just like you are, and we are very hardworking, we're very thorough, and so those energies that make us how we are, the discipline, the focus, the consistency, all of that language that we speak is going to be spoken in the stars, and that's what happens when the planets align in a sign that is in harmony with ours, and specifically a sign that is ours. Okay, so the planets are speaking your language for an extended period of time. So from the end of December, all of January, now very solidly in February and beyond, you are going to have more power to get stuff done, which is great because we're just stepping out of a Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle that was almost 2 years. And this could have had effects of a lot of confusion and a lot of scatteredness, not knowing what's going on and not feeling directed. And Capricorns are, if nothing, directed, right? We're great directors. We usually feel directed in our lives. We wake up with our list. We know what we have to do. We know what we need to do for success. And so all of those things are going to be lit up for you. Your path of accomplishment can burn very bright, both with manifestations of fruit from your labors before and with planting the seeds and working in the backdrop for your next big manifestations. Okay, so lots of Cap energy for your tedious projects. Now, that can seem a little heavy sometimes, but the work that you do and the discipline you have doesn't only have to be for work. And this is a key to being a very happy Capricorn, is that you actually use your discipline and consistency to schedule in play. This is something that I do. If it gets in the calendar of a Capricorn, it's going to happen, right? So I suggest that you take the opportunity to get into the habit with all this extra Cap energy to schedule in play and schedule in fun and schedule in dates with your honey, if you have a significant other, or schedule in time for whatever is not work. Sometimes we have to take our approach to work to our approach to play and just make sure that it gets done. And there will be lots of opportunities to do that this time. And in fact, some things you've been wanting to do for a very long time could actually wind up happening this month. So that's really, really exciting. It is definitely a time of solidifying your new vision of yourself, your new definition of what you are, who you are, and what you do in the world. And this is also, a time for consistency with your physical body and improving your relationship with your physical body and improving your self-esteem. A lot of things may have come up over the Venus retrograde transit that might have been challenging, but also a lot of things that could have come up from blessings from the past. And we still have that web of energy now where you are shoring up your foundations. So if there's any weaknesses or any difficulties or any trouble that comes up, don't worry about it. Don't fear it. See it as an opportunity to make everything even stronger for yourself. And that's a really exciting pursuit, and you will have tons of opportunities for that. Like I mentioned before, your physical body might need some attention, or maybe by now, by the time it's February, you might have already been getting more into an exercise routine, getting more disciplined with your supplements, and any other habits that are good for you. This might also be a good time, if you're not a meditator, to consider adding in meditation, because just think about what you could use your discipline to do that would be really good for you. It doesn't have to always be about work, right? We can apply those things that we do towards work to everything else in our lives. And so you can systematically go through and redo everything in your life with these principles. Okay, so the next thing that is happening or the big must know, has to do with the Aquarius placements coming through and what that means for Cap. Okay, so Aquarius transits light up your second house, our second house of money, finances, security, and our fears about money, and our esteem about money, and our money psychology. So you can make some major headway on the things you believe. The universe is really beautiful in so many ways, and this is one of the ways, which is that you can tell what you're getting from the things that you believe by what you have created. If you have a pattern of lack, or having to work too hard, or having to not have other people do their fair share, which is a very common Capricorn woe, right? Because we are so proactive that if something needs to be done, we usually do it before it needs to be done. So that sometimes doesn't give other people a chance to even take initiative, even if they would, right? So this is very much about looking at the sustainability of your work schedule, of how you're spending money. It's a great time for budgeting. It's a great time for doing your taxes, and anything else that requires discipline on the financial front. If you're someone that wants to live more in sync with nature and lighten your footprint, this is a great time for doing things like that too, implementing and researching for living closer to the land. All right, so the next must know is that in the days around, February 1st, we have a new moon in Aquarius, okay? And that's going to be conjunct Saturn. Saturn is our guy, right? So Saturn is a taskmaster. So just know there could be some harshness or some extra manifesting and gelling into place. It could go either way. That happens in the days, or the last few days of January, the first few days of February, with that Saturn effects of the new moon. The next must know is in the days around February 16th, we've got a full moon in Leo. And full moons always tend to bring drama. You know, if you ever watch any of these mystery shows or mystical shows, there's always that full moon in the backdrop and we see the things that go on. So I always suggest that you know the day of the full moon and mark it in your calendar and know the days before then. You might not sleep as well, or even after. Things will come to a head for better or worse. And this can be very much centered around some fun things that you've wanted to do, because Leo energy is this fun, you know, childlike energy. It doesn't have to be childish, be childlike energy, and your hobbies. And I like to call it the bucket list sign as well, because this is like things that are just so fun that you really want to do. So you might find that some things in your bucket list are coming true at this time, or you're making plans for that to happen. So that's very exciting. But do know that try to schedule yourself light if you can, because there could be a little drama around that. Things involving children, pregnancies. If you're trying to get pregnant, you might have your news around that time. So all of the caps will feel that. But those of you who are in the late degree zone, it's going to make a bit of an awkward angle with your placement. So we'll say like around January 15th through the rest of the sign. And the later you are, the more influential this will be. And the closer you are to 27 degrees, the more this will directly impact you. If you're not sure what your degrees are, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com. Sign up for my free email newsletter. That's how you get the welcome letter that includes your access to run the free birth chart, which you then can use to come back and listen to my work to go deeper. Okay, so now let's talk about this calendar. And actually, not just yet, one more thing. We're going to get into the calendar, and then we're going to go in deep with Jupiter and Uranus, this beautiful aspect. I'll give you a great list of things that you can expect and utilize during the time that that's influencing. But I did want to point out now that if you were born at the end of December into early January, anywhere between 6 and 16 degrees, the closer to 11 degrees, the more this is true, you're going to get more of a blessing from this beautiful aspect. Now, the rest of you, if you're not in there, so again, this is like the birthdays, the closer you are to January 1st, the more intense, and then, you know, like the 5 days before and after then, all of us are going to have chances to have any of the beautiful positive effects, which we're going to go into after the calendar. But those of you in that zone definitely have some extra goodies because of the way that it's connecting in for you. Okay, so to better understand the energies of February and how to use them, it will be very helpful to understand the energies that are surrounding February and running our compare and contrast. And plus you get a sneak peek into the whole full first quarter of 2022. So we're going to check this out. I'll give you details about this as it relates to the energies of retrograde and direct, and then we'll hit our retrograde direct list so that you can see what types of activities to align in what location on our calendar here. Okay, so here we are in February. Now, just to give a little backdrop, January we had Mercury go retrograde on January 14th. That shadow period had started in the last couple of days of December. So essentially all of January is full of retrograde energy. All right, Mercury was retrograde, Venus was retrograde, didn't go direct till the end of the month. Now, we still are having a carryover of that energy into February, because even though Mercury is direct right here at the beginning, it doesn't clear out of its post-shadow period until the 24th. This is what I mean about this hybrid energy, because the energy after the 24th is more in the direct energy, and then that just steamrolls and gets stronger on the 2nd of March when the energies become more completely clear, and we open into our first open launch period and our first of only 2 open launch periods of the whole year. Now we'll come back to this calendar, but I want to talk a little bit about the difference between the retrograde and direct energies to help you understand. January and for most of February, we've been in Retroville, okay? So this is a time when things are going inwards and backwards. The tides are coming in. If you're trying to put something out onto the water, into the world, the tides are going to just roll it right back in. So it's better to just deal with what comes up. I always like to say, be the spider and eat the food that comes to you instead of trying to go out and find a bunch of food or, weave a bunch of webs and push and, make things happen. This is a time that, although the energies are strong with Capricorn energy in January and February, which is good for getting stuff done, it's still better for dealing with the things you have to deal with that have piled up, that, clearing out the clutter, doing your taxes, researching things for the future, wrapping up loose ends. You'll have a lot of focus towards tedious tasks, but that doesn't mean you should be trying to push them out very far. You just kind of deal with them as they come up. It can lend itself to a little confusion because with the retrogrades, things get called into question. So for most of February, we still have some things possibly being called into question, especially that first half. And it's a time really to just honor the flow. If you're trying to do something and it's not working, don't force it, and you'll have a much happier relationship with the retrogrades. So it's a time to be in the moment and just, leave room for last minute magic. But basically leave yourself unscheduled as possible in your circumstance to leave room for this last minute magic. Okay, so just to go back now, this retro that we talked about, this is all of January and pretty much the first half of February, with it starting to wane after the second half of February as we get towards February 24th. But then once we get into February 24th and being triumphantly reiterated as we get to March 2nd, and then very strong from March 2nd through April 27th is the big open time for launches. So let's look at what that means. So that is the direct energy. Direct in this instance is talking about no personal planets being retrograde. Personal planets, Venus, Mercury, Mars are the personal planets that go retrograde. And we have another retrograde year here because we've got Mars retrograde towards the end of the year. So we've only got another time, part of June, all of July, part of August, that will be completely free from personal planet retrogrades. And of those two windows, this window, this March 2nd through April 27th window is even more strong for launches than that June through August one, because we've got all these Aries energies that will be coming up in March. And that is really good for bursting things out into the world. So here's where you want to do your big launches, your big life dream decisions, get your book out, engagements, weddings, marriages. Spring or fall for you all down under is a lovely time for weddings. And this is a really fantastic time in the stars. Agreements, commitments, investments, moves, brand new projects, having clarity, future planning, and to push, initiate, and even force sometimes. If you have to push through something within yourself, it's much easier to push things out into the world when the tides are going out, as they will be towards the end of February. Okay, so once we get around Valentine's Day, February 14th, things are starting to look pretty clear. We still have another 10 days of the haze until we get it completely clear. And then we still have a little lingering energy of Venus, Venus, of course, ruling love, beauty, money. I went into those energies at, fully in the November, December, January horoscopes, and you can search for Botticelli Venus retrograde to understand that more. But that's very, very important to understand. Okay, so while we've got our calendar here, let's just hit a couple of more points. Eclipse season is going to start mid-March because it starts around 4 to 6 weeks before the first eclipse, which in this case actually is April 30th. And then there's one in May as well. These are the Taurus-Scorpio eclipses. And so those types of, big changes, the anxiety, the butterflies, the feeling like your finger's stuck in a socket, we've got a break here in February from that. Because even though we can see eclipse news or eclipse related news come in at any time during the years of the eclipse cycle, they tend to heat up in the 4 to 6 weeks before the eclipse. So this February time is really nice in that way, that we are free of the heat of eclipse season. And actually February is one of the most non-eventful astrological months of the whole year. We've, a lot of times we've got a lot of things going on. In February, we have a little bit less. So it's just kind of, it's a hybrid in the way that it's, retrograde for part and direct for part. But we don't have as many planets clashing. We don't have any of the big negative planet clashes that we've been having. And actually we have a super positive one, which we're going to talk about more after this. But I just want to show you the dates on the calendar here. Mid-January through mid-March, this Jupiter sextile Uranus aspect. Now, we've been getting shellacked by outer planets connecting in a difficult way. When outer planets come together, it's very powerful and have very strong lasting effects for everybody, and the aspects usually last for a long time because those planets are slower moving. So we only have one pass of this Jupiter-Uranus beautiful kiss, and the strongest part of it will be here February 17th through the 21st. But the whole month before and after, the energies are very strong. So let's talk about what the blessings and potential positive effects of the Jupiter-Uranus connections will be. Okay, let's drill down into the exciting transit of Jupiter sextile Uranus. As we've been talking about, we have been having a lot of difficulties with the outer planets, these slower moving planets that once they come into a configuration, they stay in it for a while. Except that has been very heavy because the configurations that have been happening over the last couple of years have been consistently difficult. But now we have a beautiful period where we've got the outer planets, two of them, Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter in Pisces and Uranus in Taurus, coming together in this fabulous combination. So we're going to talk about some things that go on as positive potentials. But let's first look at what we're looking at here. So here is the planet Uranus. And here is Jupiter. Jupiter's in Pisces. And this meeting is actually going to occur at 11 degrees. Okay, so once Jupiter moves to the 11 degree of Pisces position, it will lock in place into a sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. If you've been listening to my work for a while, you know that a 60-degree angle is the opportunity angle. It's the ingredients on a counter angle where we're presented with a bunch of different options to make beautiful meals in our lives. That's a figurative and possibly literal as well. But we have to do something with it. So this is a time where you have to really look for, sometimes it will be apparent, but you have to look for and do something with the potentials, and then you can activate this expansion of Jupiter, the intuition and artistic connectedness to all things of Pisces, the emotional high EQ, and this Uranus, the innovation and surprises and sudden insights and sudden events in this grounded energy of Taurus, meaning the very unstable energy of Uranus is able to be much more manifested into form, which is a hard thing to do with Uranus. It's very fleeting. So the combination of the solidness of the earth placement, the really just innovative and futuristic energies of Uranus, combined with this beautiful, emotional, intuitive, expansive energy. So anything that combines all of those energies, there will be lots of opportunities. Now, the dates that are most active are February 17th through the 21st. This is the big day when the official degree and minute line up, but they're still matching at 11 degrees through this time, from February 17th to February 21st. But from all of mid-January, and sensitive people could feel it a little sooner, even beginning of January, possibly even sooner, but certainly mid-January through mid-March. And again, sensitive people, if you're looking out, you might see those effects kind of drizzling in later. But we've definitely got a 2-month period where this energy is very strong and very usable. So we could discover the power of rest and quiet revealing itself in wonderful ways through sudden insights, problem solving, awarenesses of the past, dips into the future. In this particular configuration, daring to do something different can yield very positive results. Now, I'm not talking about, and here we can kind of talk about this, indulging in a crazy idea can work out big time. We're not talking about super reckless, very dangerous things necessarily, unless intuitively there's something very specific in that for you. But in general, this is something with like a calculated risk. That Taurus energy with the Uranus really likes that calculated risk, but just having the daringness to do something different. And that's very subjective. So you doing something different, can feel like a big deal to you, this thing you're going to do. But someone else might not think twice about doing that particular thing. So it's a relative experience, but it could work out really well. Taking a step away from an issue or a pattern could reveal sudden life-changing insights and outcomes. So that's this, Jupiter in Pisces, where we're expanding that quiet space. I like to call it the space of private personal pursuits. And then anything artistic in nature, finding your voice with your art, stepping into art for the first time, expanding the artistic endeavors you have. Artistic endeavors can take on more special significance at this time. And any psychological or other inner work can actually expand even further and include sudden healings of addictions, fear, or anxiety. Now, just to, be very raw here, as humans, we're probably never going to be completely free of fear, right? But the patterns and the addictive pattern of feeling when we have to be afraid, we could have some major impact here, including perfect practitioners that come in, modalities that come in that can be helpful, or our sudden and clear commitment to use tools to help us to calm down when we get anxious. Tools like EFT, the emotional freedom technique. There are so many tools you can look for, tools to clear fear, tools, self-help for anxiety. And of course, if it's very extreme and you need help, then this might be a time where you can find someone that can really help you. And innovation and intuition commingling in powerful ways. So this is just a really magical time full of promise, with that little note, though, the little footnote that says, but hey, it's a sextile, so you might actually have to do something with those possibilities that are surrounding you to activate their full glory. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that, and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at anniebclarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.